COI is on top of the world. During their run, they're one of the top 3 crews in Los Angeles, no doubt. But things eventually start to slow down for COI. What happens? Can you tell us?
Yeah, like I think with any crew, what happens is like you're at the top of the game and you set the bar. So then other people try to fill it up and try to top you, and that's the nature of graffiti. And so there was definitely other crews coming up, other people that started getting influenced by us and by other writers and take it to the next level. So that happens, and that happens. So that's one thing. The other thing is, we're older. We start getting older, getting into different things. I got out of college and I decided to become a full-time artist and make a living as an artist. So I'm doing that. Other people have other things going on in their lives, and so the unit of COI, just starts, not falling apart. I say just growing up, and so certain people had to go handle certain things and leave for a while, and at the end of the day, that's what happens to all crews, and I'm happy to say that, like, even though it's been a long journey, like, we're all friends still, we all know each other, we still hang out, not as much as we used to, but once in a while we reach out or whatever. But some of us are still doing it. Vile's a full-time artist, I'm a full-time artist, other people in the crew went on to do other things, but it's one of those natural things. Like, we never set to have COI be a thing forever. Like, there's crews who keep getting in young blood. We were never about getting in young blood, like, just for that reason, like, we wanted to have our unit tight, and we were on our game, mid-90s, early 90s, mid-90s, and then it became what it became, and it's happy to be part of history,
As COI slows down, it seems you focus more on the business aspect of graffiti. You actually tell a story about going to your friends and mentioning selling canvases, but you don't have the reaction that you quite expected. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, early on, man, I was like, even when we were painting and stuff, I remember we had a chance to do an exhibit, and I told some of the guys in my crew, like Seance and Vile, like, yo, let's do this on canvas, and and people were like laughing, like, nah, man, no one's gonna buy graffiti. Like, what are you talking about, right? So at the time, we were still young, so we didn't understand what was gonna happen in the future. But my goal was, like, I'm gonna make a living doing this. So I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm gonna make a living. And there was no one to show us the way, because no one had been doing it. There was no full-time graffiti artist that we knew of at that time. But I just knew, like, if I'm an artist and other artists make a living, what's the difference? So that was just my attitude, and I think it was a little bit ahead of its time, because some people, even in my own crew, were like laughing at me, saying like, nah, man, it ain't gonna happen.
How do you go about proving them wrong? What steps do you take?
Well, what ended up happening is I started getting jobs after college. I started doing jobs for MTV, Coca-Cola. I started getting these corporate gigs, and by the way, at the time, people were hating on me for that. People thought I was selling out. They thought, like, yo, you're doing it for money, whatever. And I'm like, I'm being an artist and I'm getting paid, so I don't know what you're talking about. And that's what started changing people's perception of what it could be, because I would hire Vile to help me out on a wall. I would hire another artist to help me on this piece or whatever. So once I started getting paid and then dropping them some cash, then real quick people start changing their minds on, like, oh, okay, this is you're being real about it,
During this time, do you have a real job and are making side money, or is it full-time art?
Art is the only full-time job I've ever had in my life. So after high school, I go to college. I went to Loyola Marymount University, got my degree in fine art, and a minor in Spanish. So I graduated in 93. 94, I had my first solo show. 94, I had my first show at a museum at Mocha. So it just, like, I graduated and I just, like, hit the ground running. Everything lined up. Everything was happening at the right time. And I just started doing it. It was really hard at first. Like, I wasn't making a lot of money at all, but I was making money. So that was like, okay, I don't have to go work at 7-Eleven or whatever. Like, I could do this, So that's always been my gig.